right, we're back in the studio. You are listening to The Truth on 102.1. Hey, real quick, I want to say I want to open up the phone lines right now. This is the first time we're going to do this, but we have a very special guest. So take a note of this. The number is 904-797-1919. So the phone lines are open right now. And today in the studio with us, I've got Chris Strickland. He is a candidate for sheriff of St. Johns County. And Chris has, let's see, he's got a quite impressive resume here. Let's see, he was hired as a St. Johns County deputy sheriff in 1989 at age of 19. He's been a member of the Sheriff's Explorer program since 1983. Chris rose through the ranks of the St. Johns County Sheriff's Department, first as sergeant, then lieutenant, then commander, and eventually retired at the rank of director of the Office of Sheriff. And for those of you that don't know, director is the number third down position from the sheriff itself. So he was director of the sheriff's office. Some of Chris's achievements, very impressive. He was field training officer, member of the SWAT team, patrol sergeant, detective, homicide sergeant, and lieutenant in the homicide division, commander of the Southwest and Northeast districts here in St. Johns County. He also served as a firearms instructor, defensive tactics instructor, and officer survival instructor, and he's taught over 2,000 recruits and in-service personnel here in the county. So let's welcome Chris Strickland to the show today. Welcome aboard, Chris.
Thank you, Tom.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
So tell me a little bit about where you're at with the campaign. I have a few questions I want to ask you myself, but give us a quick rundown of where we're at right now.
Sure. We opened the campaign last year on January 9th, which is Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, and we have been campaigning for exactly a year as of the 9th of this month.
Okay.
So, wow, it's been pretty lucrative. We've had some very fortunate experiences and met a lot of great people.
Awesome. So it's been a year. Wow, that was fast. I can remember back when it started, so that's a long road.
Yes.
Did it go fast for you? Did it go slow? What do you think?
It went pretty fast. There were times when it seemed like it was moving slow, but you know, there are different times of the year when people are interested in politics, and you know, the main thing for me is that I'm not a politician.
I was going to say that you don't consider yourself a politician at all.
No, I don't. I'm a law enforcement officer, and I'm not big into politics, but it's a necessary evil to go to the next level. So here we are.
Right. And you are a dedicated public servant, and that's the most important thing. You got what an impressive resume, I have to say, and the fact that you grew with the agency. I mean, you started out as a teenager.
Yes, we did. The program for the Explorer post 9/11 is a wonderful program for kids, for students, for teenagers. I actually came there in 1983. That was at the same time that Neil Perry was running against Sheriff O'Laughlin, and he was successful in that bid. And the type of things that the Explorers do, or at the time for us, they had us, they would take us out when they'd find the marijuana grows, and we'd cut those down with machetes.
Right.
We would also wear a wire and go into these local food and beverage establishments.
Right.
And attempt to purchase alcohol and tobacco undercover, and we actually did a lot of work with that. There's an annual competition that we compete against other explorers in the state, and it has to do with traffic stops, in progress call response, crime scene investigation, and things of that nature.
But it gives young people a chance to interact with law enforcement. And in fact, eventually, so many of them, I'm sure, like myself, I was a reserve with the NYPD many years ago, probably around close to the same time that you started. I think I started in '82.
It does.
So right about this. So it gives them a chance to interact and then possibly consider a career in law, which you did.
Right. It prepares you for the academy. I graduated San Jose High School in 1988 in June, and in August I was in the Law Enforcement Academy here.
That's amazing.
And actually had two roads that I was considering. I was either going into the United States Marine Corps or become a deputy sheriff if the sheriff would hire me. At the time it was Neil Perry. And
you have a funny story with that.
I do.
I'd like to let's share that with the listeners.
Well, I went down to the Marine Corps recruiting station and took the test, and of course they welcome aboard. If you'd like to sign up, here's the paperwork. And I had an appointment with Sheriff Perry at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I said to to the recruiter, I said, okay, I've got an appointment with our sheriff at 1 o'clock. If he hires me, then I won't be back. But if he doesn't, then I'll see you in just a little bit. So I got in front of Neil Perry, and he said, Chris, I think your time with us should be worth something, and I'm going to go. I would rather you go into the military, but I'm going to go ahead and give you a chance as a deputy sheriff. I generally don't like to hire folks at 19 years of age, but I'm going to take this chance with you, so don't disappoint me. And I hope for the majority of my career I worked for him, and I certainly hope I never did disappoint.
Yeah, he was a tremendous man of integrity,
Yes.
Neil Perry, and what a great mentor to have.
Yes.
But
yes.
the fact that you grew through the agency, okay, so I myself, worked in 2 large agencies, as you know. I was with the NYPD and also with the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department.
Right.
The importance of management growing within an organization, to me, I've always seen it as the best. I mean, in New York, we didn't bring in anybody from the outside, so it was kind of an internal growth, and they did that for a reason, because if you start within an agency and you grow within an agency through several levels of command, it's just a natural progression.
Right.
And at your position now, I can't think of anybody more experienced and credentialed for the position of sheriff. I mean, you've got all of the training and certainly all of the education credentials, but beyond that, you've got 30 years of law enforcement experience right here in the county within this agency. So you know this agency, you know the most of the people in this agency, you know the talent in this agency, and you're, in my opinion, ready to jump in. You can go right back and lead the agency. You've done it already before.
It's been my position that in order to rise to the top level of an organization, the best thing for you to do is start at the lower level.
I agree.
And experience every level of management there is, through lower management to middle management, through senior management, and to get all the schooling that you need, to get everything that you need to provide you educationally and experience-wise for this particular job. I'm a proud graduate of Flagler College here. After that, I was sent to Columbus, Georgia, and attended the Georgia Law Enforcement Command College. And in that particular college, what they teach you to do is to run an agency the size of the Los Angeles Police Department.
Right.
Somewhere between 9,000 and 10,000 sworn officers. So it's a pretty large agency. It's one of the largest we have in the country.
Right.
While I was there, I also got my master's degree in public administration with a major in justice administration, which has been very helpful for me. This has just always been a dream of mine, something that I've wanted to do since the time I could. I first was hired by Sheriff Perry, and so with our current sheriff retiring, it's time to fulfill that.
Absolutely, and a natural progression for you.
Sure.
Even so, and I think that as you are so dedicated, you've gone as far as you could go.
Right.
And you retired. And now the next logical step, if you want to continue what you do and what you love to do, is to run. And I agree 100%. You look at the sheriff's department here. I mean, me personally, I've been here about 8 years now. I'm a transplant, so I don't want to use the other word. I'm a transplant, but so I have not been a fan of some of the things that I've seen coming out of some of the leadership in that agency, and I think that we could do better. And it forces people to think that, well, when you think about this agency, it's about 1,000 personnel now.
Roughly
About
920 something.
The budget is what, about 80 million, 79 million?
Yes, in that neighborhood.
When you think of an agency that size and a budget that big, it is so important to choose the right person that can step in and handle that job. And somebody like you who's already done it for all intents and purposes and has grown through the agency, it's to me, as a voter, I would feel a lot more secure with you at the helm. And I think that makes sense to most people.
Well, thank you for that. Yes, it's hard to beat experience, and it's hard to beat experience in that particular avenue or venue that you've worked in all of your life. If you want to be a contractor or a builder, you start off young and learn how to build, and ultimately you get your contracting license on your own company and to follow through with that. So this is nothing more than that in a public sector state. So we've got some good plans to keep the agency running in a forward progression that is going to keep up with the growth of this county.
Right. Which has been astounding.
Yes, we're
by the way,
one of the largest growing in the nation right now. So
This is a unique. I'm glad you mentioned that, Chris. By the way, we're on the air with Chris Strickland, candidate for sheriff of St. Johns County. The lines are open if you want to call in at 797-1919. We're gonna open the lines for anybody who wants to call in, speak to Chris, ask some questions. Yeah, the county's growing so fast, and this is not. You and I are law enforcement. We know how that works, and law enforcement services has to match the growth.
Sure, absolutely.
Hang on, we're going to take a call here. Stand by. Hello, you're on the air on WFOY.
Hey, sir. This is Wayne from Nocatee.
Wayne, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, sir. Hey, I'm a recent transplant down here. I just started listening. I enjoy it, and the topics are really good.
Oh, thank you.
But I had a question. I read Mr. Strickland's bio. I'm very impressed. I read his opposition's bio. Kind of concerned. Benefits to both. My question is to Mr. Strickland: you mentioned an $80 million budget. Do you see a problem with it's like a rapid explosion in growth out here? I've seen it with the construction on 210 and the need for more police officers.
We were just talking about
with that. The population. Do you see the need for more officers, and how would you plan to address the budget issues? Trying to squeeze a penny from the county has always been difficult.
Wayne, thank you for that, and thank you for calling in from Nocatee. Yes, we are growing, and we're growing very fast. This is the type of thing that we've got to get in front of before it gets to the point where the infrastructure doesn't serve our community. So we are going, as we grow, we're going to need more officers. We're going to need more deputy sheriffs, and we're going to have to handle this traffic so that it flows smoothly and it doesn't take us an hour to get to Jacksonville, for the folks that commute back and forth. So yes, to answer your question, I do see us needing additional officers as we move forward and as the county grows.
Okay, great. I appreciate your time. I just want to compliment you. I saw your bio again. I think it's excellent. I really like to see more officers on 210, because that traffic, like you said, sir, it is horrible.
Sure.
And it's probably long overdue. And with that new development, Beach Walk, which is beautiful, but I know those other people that live out here by me in Nocatee, in the morning they're just aggravated. But I appreciate everything you're doing to represent the folks in St. John's, and I wish you luck, sir, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, and God bless you too, Wayne. Thank you.
Thank you for calling in, Wayne. You take care.
Thank you, sir. Love your show.
Oh, thank you. Keep listening.
Yes,
take
sir.
care. Well, that was good. Again, we have our phone lines open, 797-1919. Call in with your questions and comments. We'd certainly love to hear from you. Going back to this very question about the rapid growth, and like I was saying before Wayne called in, it has to, the public services have to match, the growth. Otherwise, you run into a problem. And I know I had Commissioner Jimmy Johns on here not long ago, and we were talking about the new fire station that's going in there on Racetrack Road, which is excellent because it cuts down the response time.
Sure. And
that's always good. But in your case, as the sheriff's department stands now, we were talking about the growth with 800 to 1,000, and now a budget of $80 million. I mean, that's going to go further. So when you think about that, I mean, the agency itself is probably going to grow exponentially compared to the population too.
You're exactly right. And when you're the fiduciary for that type of budget, it's very important that these funds are used and utilized in the right area for the right purposes and the right means. Traffic and our infrastructure is very important. That's how we commute back and forth to work, to the grocery store, to our schools, and we're going to try to get in front of that. Should we be successful in my administration, and make sure that folks, aren't caught in traffic like they have in other cities where they're, stuck at a standstill for 15 and 20 minutes at a time. That's just not something that's conducive with, your quality of life here in St. Johns County.
Right. And a good point that the previous caller brought up is that, and he's also from Nocatee, and he's also a transplant like me, although he didn't sound like much of a transplant in terms of far away, but like I do. But it's interesting to know that when you think about growth and how fast it's happening, it's concerning, especially in areas like Nocatee. We have a lot of transplants there, and a lot of transplants in my area too. And speak to these people right now, because when from up north, we don't do a lot of voting in sheriff's elections. It's just not something that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's an adjustment phase when you come here that can take a look at that and say, oh, I'm used to voting for Congress and Senate and presidents, and now this is a different kind of a local election, but people need to pay attention to it.
They do.
And they need to get out and get involved and vote and understand what they're voting for. So please speak to those people that are recently relocated here or have been here a little while, and why you are the best choice.
Well, absolutely. First of all, to the folks who have moved here recently in the past, to date, from 4 to 5 years back, maybe a little bit longer, we're glad to have you here. And I've spoken at many homes where folks have wanted to be involved in the elections, not only just for sheriff, but for other constitutional offices. And we hope that you find our county to be a safe and a pleasant place to live and raise your children. We have the best schools, in my opinion, in the state of Florida, and I'm sure that it's on record as that in the past, and maybe the future maybe the present right now and the future also. Speaking of schools, that is my biggest priority for us is
School
safety in the schools.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly right. We are going to make sure that we're on top of that, and we're going to maintain the highest level of training. Our deputies are going to be they're going to be well equipped and well trained. They're going to have the highest level of training that you can get in this area, and they're going to be equipped as a priority.
Okay. Let's take another call real quick.
Okay.
Hello, you're live on the air, and what's your name?
Hi, my name is Melissa.
Hi, Melissa. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing good, Melissa. How are you?
Not too bad. I have one question for you.
Okay.
My husband and I recently moved back here from Palm Coast after 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
We are lifelong residents here
Okay.
of St. Augustine. And one of our main concerns with moving back is we've seen the influx in drug use.
Okay.
It's rampant pretty much everywhere.
Okay.
Pretty much in the neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
And, calling and speaking and trying to get something done about it and see no improvement.
Okay. Well, I can tell you this, the increase in the use of crystal methamphetamine and the crystal methamphetamine labs and the fentanyl use, this is something that we are going to concentrate on. There's three major topics, and if you were listening earlier, right before you called in, I was talking about the schools, it's that, and this is one of the other ones. And the drug use in this county does need to be addressed with more priority than I've seen as of late here, and I'm going to make a concerted effort to do that. We're going to increase our organized crime unit, our vice and narcotics unit. I have, of course, you enforce those type of laws two ways, overtly and covertly. And it takes the use of both of those techniques in order to be successful. So we're going to institute a campaign against this crystal methamphetamine issue and the fentanyl issue. And we're going to send a message out to the drug dealers here in St. Johns County that if you're going to deal drugs, it better not be here in St. Johns County.
Good point. Melissa, thank you for calling in.
Thank you so much.
Was there anything else, Melissa, that I could help you with?
No, sir. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. We'll be voting for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Melissa. You have a good night.
Thank you.
Speaking of that isn't always an ongoing problem, I think, in any community. But of course, as growth happens, more of those kind of characters are going to come in and set up shop or try to.
Right.
And I think progressive law enforcement, getting out in front of it, is the way to go. Just as you said, that is definitely a way to go. Lines open 797-1919. I've got Chris Strickland here in the studio. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
To the Truth with your host, Tom Very.
our Sheriff's Department to ensure the safety and well-being of all our residents. With over 900 employees and a budget of nearly $80 million, we need to choose the right leader for the job. That leader is Chris Strickland, who has over 30 years' experience in law enforcement. After serving as director of the St. Johns County Sheriff's Department, he has proven himself to be a true leader, and now he wants to continue to serve the people of St. Johns County as your next sheriff. Vote Chris Strickland for St. Johns County Sheriff 2020. Experienced, qualified, and ready to serve. Chris Strickland, strictly the best for St. Johns County. Visit the website at Strickland for Sheriff. That's Strickland, the number 4, sheriff.com. And also follow the Facebook page, Chris Strickland for Sheriff, where you'll find more information on upcoming events and read his weekly messages and safety tips for you and your family. All right, you're back, and you are listening to The Truth on 102.1 WFOY, the voice of St. Johns County. I am here in the studio with Chris Strickland, candidate for sheriff of St. Johns County, and the election's coming up in August of 2020, August 18th, I believe, right, Chris?
Yes, it is. Early voting
good.
starts the 1st of August.
All right, very important. Lines are open, 797-1919, with your comments and questions. Chris is here in the studio. Want to call in and speak with him, he's available to you. We were talking about on the break about how important it is to monitor online activities.
That's correct.
And the crimes that go on online. By the way, you mentioned the weekly messages on your Facebook page, which, by the way, if you've never seen it, go to Facebook and you'll see Strickland for Sheriff. That page, if you follow that page, you will receive weekly messages, safety tips, and they're really good, by the way, actually. You've got a lot of positive response I see for them. Some of them are very interesting. I subscribe. I get them every week, so good idea. So talk to me about computers and safety of children on the internet.
Well, you know, Tom, with the amount of schools that we have here and the amount of children that we have here, that has got to be a priority for us as far as their safety is concerned. Not just at the schools, which is a big deal for us during today's times, but it's also the online predators that I'm concerned with, and we are going to. There's a unit there at the sheriff's office that deals with that, and we are going to increase that unit. Should it still exist, if it doesn't exist, we're going to go ahead and put one back in place, and it's going to be a large unit, and we are going to again protect our children through that means and any other means necessary. This business about people having their children lured by predators online.
Right. I hear about it all the time.
Yeah, it's very serious, and we are not. Our children are our future. Obviously, they are their children are our future, and we want to make sure that they're safe at home. We want to make sure they're safe in the schools, which incidentally we are going to maintain the highest level of training for these school incidents also. This is something that I am passionate about, and we're going to continue to do that. So yes, our online predators are going to be addressed head on.
They have so much access, kids, to everything, whether it's on their smartphones or at home. When mine were little, I used to make them put their phones up at night, and if you guys are listening, don't be mad at me for that. They would complain, and I'd make them turn the phones off and put them on the kitchen counter before they went up to bed. But and I was a tyrant for doing that. And did you have similar? Did you do that too?
Oh yes, absolutely. My wife and I, incidentally, my wife Tammy, we've been together since 2001, and she is just a wonderful mother to our children and a wonderful wife. I really told her that she was setting her sights a little bit low whenever she picked me. She should have gone after a doctor or a lawyer, but no, she is on top of that type of thing when I'm not, and when she's at work, I'm on top of it also. But now we have grown children. Our children I have a one stepchild that is married to somebody in the Army, and he's a great fella. He's a wonderful soldier, and somebody that really contributes a lot to this country. My other daughter works at Salt Run Family Dentistry, and she's a dental assistant there, and she's going to further her career in that capacity. But we're just having a time. I have also a grandson that is 10 months old. I'm actually going on 11 months old. He'll be 1 year old here recently, or shortly, and he's just been the center focal point of our lives here for the past 10 or
so now, yeah, that's how it happens. The next generation, now we got to worry about their future and how to protect them. And
right.
it just
That's
keeps
exactly
getting old. My mom used to say, I worry so much between you guys and my grandkids now. It's just too much.
Hey.
That's what happens, right?
Amen.
But I'm certainly glad to hear about the school safety. That is definitely a priority. I mean, you keep hearing about these things, and you know, of course, we get from the left, they get their solutions, which they think are solutions, but it really has nothing to do with the actual problem.
Right.
And you know, they love to bring. In fact, there's an article in St. Augustine Record the other day. I was reading it once again. You know, they come out of this gun show loophole dialogue. They love to use that term. You know, that term is fake, as we all know. There is no gun show loophole. It's just a stalking horse that they use to throw that out there as an excuse to create more gun laws. When in fact, when you look at places like what happened in Parkland, for example, I mean, that guy should have been arrested. He should have been charged many times. He should have never been able to buy a gun in the first place. So that was a failure. You look at the shooting that took place on the military base in Pensacola. Same thing. I don't know, up until that point, I don't know how somebody from a foreign country could possibly buy a gun, but obviously he did it illegally. So that has nothing to do with the law-abiding citizen who owns a firearm, because as we all know, law-abiding citizens tend to disproportionately commit crimes. They basically don't commit crimes. They're law-abiding for the most part.
Well, you can look at what happened just recently out here in the church in Texas, where we had a law-abiding citizen legally carrying a firearm. We had somebody come into the church and shoot people, and he was able to, within seconds, just stop that threat. So, you know, I'm a big advocate of our law-abiding citizens having a concealed weapon permit and, you know, carrying when they feel that they need to carry their firearm to protect their family, themselves, and anybody that may be around them that needs protecting. This is the type, you know, I want it to be a trained individual that is qualified for that type of thing,
right.
And they need to practice with the firearm that they carry, but I'm a big advocate of that. And
look at, you see what's going on in Virginia. It just reminded me of something.
Yeah.
So there's some scuttlebutt up there. I don't know if it's real. I don't know, half of it's, you know, conjecture. They're saying that, you know, politicians, no specific names, are saying that they're going to do gun confiscations and they're going to go house to house and do all these things. And we've had a lot of sheriffs coming out and declaring their counties as, you know, Second Amendment, sanctuaries.
Right.
It's crazy that we even have to do that, because we have a constitution. I don't understand how we have to keep making laws on top of the laws we have. But as a sheriff, what would you do in that situation?
You know, and I've said this, I've spoken at many gatherings and open areas where folks have asked this question, and I'm going to tell you, this is something that is very important to the American people, and it starts at the local level, you know, and I can tell you and anyone else who's listening, the deputy sheriffs that are out there, the general public, that whether it's pursuant to a funded or unfunded mandate, there will not be a deputy sheriff coming to your home and asking for your weapon. That's not something that the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office would do underneath my
because as a sheriff, you are bound to obey the Constitution.
Right, and there's been, you know, precedent set in court that says that you do not have to follow those mandates if they are unconstitutional.
Right.
So, this is something that's important to people. When we start losing that, then we're starting to become a part of the scene.
Right. I agree with you 100%. Last thing I wanted to ask you was, and I know you have to run, the fiscal responsibility within the agency. I know you've said before, I think I heard you say once before about having some steps in place to make sure that what happened last year with that fiasco of, I don't know how much is missing, is either 750,000 or it's $1 million now, who knows what it is. It's probably more, over $1 million. What would you do? Let's take it here. I got another caller, so let me take this call real quick.
Okay.
Hello, you're live on the air on WFOY. Who's this?
Hey, this is Jeff. I'd like to comment on the sheriff candidate.
How you doing, Jeff? Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi. I'm not live, am I?
Yes, you are.
You're live on the air, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Go for it.
Talking on the radio. I just wanted to wish you luck. I checked your background, and you certainly got my support as a law enforcement officer. Looking forward to you winning the election.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. We've got a lot of folks working very hard to that end, and with any, with God's blessing and any luck, we'll be able to, to be successful. And we're certainly going to continue to work hard all the way through August with us.
That sounds great. Looking forward to it, and best of luck, and you got my support.
Okay, thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.
So, yeah, real quick, I know this is probably a lengthy answer, but you had some ideas what to put into place to make sure we did not have another mishap like happened here with the embezzlement of the funds that happened at the sheriff's office this last year.
Well, the first thing that we have to recognize, and my entire staff has been briefed that we are not going to we're not going to throw any rocks or sling any mud during this campaign. We're going to win this campaign based on our virtue, based on our credentials, based on what we can do for the folks here in St. Johns County. So, and having said that, let me just say this: there has to be oversight when you have the fiduciary responsibility of that much money,
Sure.
because we have to remember this is not, even though it's allotted to the sheriff's office by the county commission. This is not our money.
Right.
This is the folks that we are trying to serve. And if you're trying to be a leader to rule, you're in there for the wrong reason. You need to be a leader to serve.
Right.
And
Exactly.
And this business about stealing from the agency that you work with, we are going to have guidelines in place to catch that before it gets to, if somebody has it in their heart to steal, they're going to steal. But whether or not they get away with it for an extended period of time or one pay period, that's the responsibility of the person who's in charge of that organization.
Well, I appreciate that input. I mean, and it's so important. And like I said, I commend you for running a clean campaign.
Thank you.
Nobody likes, dirty politics, but the fact of the matter is, we need some change here, and it's obvious to a lot of people. And it's refreshing to know that, something's coming along where, you have a different choice to say, well, you have different ideas on how to prevent something like that, so that's very commendable, and I'll look forward to that when you win, certainly.
Right. Thank you very
But you're
much.
going to be back, right? This
Sure.
is just one visit, but you're going to be coming back regularly on the show, right?
Right. We have 6 months before early voting begins, and I'll be happy to come back whenever you invite me and take any questions from the public they may have, because
Great.
I want to make sure that everybody's well informed, and so they can make a decision that's going to be best for them and their family.
Absolutely, and if you want help making that decision, go to the website. That's Chris Strickland, Strickland 4 Sheriff. That's the number 4. So Strickland4Sheriff.com. That's the website. Facebook page is Chris Strickland for Sheriff. Check them both out. There's a lot of information on there. And again, if you go to the Facebook page, you'll get the weekly messages, which are great. I give you a little bit of an example of Chris's ability and his caring attitude for the residents of this county. I look forward to having him back. Chris, thank you very much for coming on the show today, and we look forward to the next time you come in, and thank you for all the callers that called in. So we look forward to hearing from you again soon.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. We do have a phone number for our campaign. It is 904-481-6616. That's 481-6616. So if you have any questions or would like to set up a meet and greet, please give us a call and we'll get that arranged. I'll personally be back in touch with you within 24 hours.
Excellent. Yeah, we look forward to having you back again, and once again on the phone number, make a note of that if you want to call in the campaign. Of course, you can email and message Chris through the Facebook page. He's very good about answering those. So look forward to having you back again. We're going to take a short break and be right back after this. I've got stories of the armed citizens, so stand by for that.
Thank you.